Okay, today we're doing adding polynomials. The prefix poly means many. Nomials means name, or you'll hear me say the word term. Many terms, many names, many terms. Okay, I'll talk in a minute about what a term is. So, monomial, the prefix monomial, that is one term. Bi, if you're on a bicycle, two wheels, so two terms. Tricycle, three wheels. Triangle, three sides, three angles, so three terms. Okay, what does a term look like? So, let me show you with our numbering system, 1,375, okay? In our numbering system, that is our ones place value, that is your tens place value, that is your 100s, and that's your 1,000. When we put those in exponential form, 1,000 is 10 cubed, 100, 10 squared, 10 to the first, 1 was 10 to the 0. Do you see how your exponents count down? The same is true in the algebra world. In the algebra world, we can start out with a number, then we can add an x to it. This is like our ones place value. This is our x. So this is ones, which is our x to the 0. This is our x to the 1. Then we can go on and say, okay, here we're going to have a x squared term. Now we're going to have a x cubed term, and so forth. I can have an x to the 4th. I can have an x to the 5th, so forth. So, in other words, this is my x to the 4th place value, like 10 to the 4th. This is my x to the 3rd place value. This is my x squared place value. This is my x to the 1st place value. This is my x to the 0, which is still the ones. So, just as our numbering system has place values, also in algebra, you have
I'm Donna, and I'm here to help.
You have place values.
A little.
So, and also, so here, when you have a number, 1,375, you want to add another number to it. Like, let's say I'm going to take 1,375, and I'm going to add 214 to it. Well, I lined my ones up, I lined my tens, I lined my 100s. I can only add ones to ones, tens to tens, hundreds to hundreds. The same is true in the algebra world. You can only add numbers to numbers, x's to x's, x squares to other x squares, x cubes to other x cubes. Remember, this is like saying apples, bananas, oranges, strawberries, and blueberries. You can only add apples to apples, bananas to bananas, oranges to oranges, and so forth. So, in your workbook, look at 23B4, what they're wanting you to do. Normally, you would think of this as this is your units, this is your tens, this is your 100s. So, but it's the same idea, but our base system in algebra is x's and not tens. So this is like your x to the 0, which is your units, still like your units place value. And then this is your x, just your x to the 1st place value. And then this is your x squared place value, okay? So when you see these big blocks, they represent an x squared. When you see these, they represent an x, and these are just whole numbers, okay, like units. So to match up here, how many of the x squares do we have? We have 3 of them. We have 3 x squares. We're adding it to here. How many x's do we have? 2 x. And then how many just unit blocks do we have? 5. So when you're matching this up, you're going to match it to this right here, 3x squared plus 2x plus 5. We can't add x squares to x's, and we can't add x's to numbers. This is like apples, bananas, oranges. You cannot add them together. This is called, there are 1, 2, 3 terms. So this right here is actually called a trinomial. So this is what I mean by terms. That's a term, that's a term, that's a term. Terms are all added together. So now we're going to work on, look at 23b7, we're going to work on adding the polynomials. For this specific one, we're adding a trinomial to another trinomial. And the main thing, look at your instructions, it says we're adding. Okay, so personally, I like to put an addition sign out here. They don't have one in your book, but I like to put it because then you see it and it tells your brain you're adding these numbers together. And just as when you line up numbers, you can only add your units to units, tens to tens, same is true here. Do you see how my numbers are lined up? My x's are all lined up and my x squares are lined up. I can only add numbers to numbers, x's to x's, x squares to x squares, okay? Apples to apples, bananas to bananas, oranges to oranges. But you need to look at your sign. The sign in front of the number goes with it. So I'm adding a -2 and a -5. I'm in debt 2 and I'm adding more debt of 5. So if I'm in debt 2, I'm adding more debt of 5, I'm going to be in debt 7. Here I've got a +3 and I'm adding a +2x. So if I have 3 of these, or 3 bananas plus 2 bananas, then I'm going to have a +5 bananas. 3 of these plus 2 of these is 5 of these. Now I can only add x squares to x squares, oranges to oranges. I have 5 of these plus 3 of these, because remember when there's no sign it's an implied positive. So +5 of these plus +3 of these is a +8 of these. It's important to know that this doesn't change. 5 of these plus 3 of these is 8 of these. 3 of these plus 2 of these is 5 of those, or these. So the x squared doesn't change. X doesn't change. 3 x's plus 2 x's is 5 x's. 5x squares plus 3x squares is 8x squared. And then I cannot add x squares to x's or x's to whole numbers. Those are all like separate pieces of fruit. So you leave your answer as a trinomial. That's 3 separate terms. Okay, go to 23C10. So here again, it's a matter of looking at your signs. The instruction says you're adding everything. I like to put my adding sign out there. So I'm adding a -3 and a +5. I'm in debt 3. Someone gives me $5. Am I going to have money or am I going to owe money? I'm going to have. How much am I going to have? I'm going to have $2. Now here I have 3 and I have 2. So 3x plus 2x is a +5x. Now I've got 6x squared and -7x squared. 6 of these, -7 of these. I have 6, I owe 7. Am I going to have or owe in the end? I'm going to owe. I'm still going to owe $1, so -1 of that. 6x squared, -7x squared is a -1x squared. Then you can't add x squares to x's or to numbers. You can only add x squares to other x squares. You can only add x's to other x's, and you can only add numbers to other numbers. So that is your answer. That is 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms. That is a trinomial. Okay, look at 23C12. Again, instructions say to add, so I like to put my little addition sign there. I have a +1 and a -9. I have 1, I owe 9, so I'm going to owe in the end. I'm still going to owe $8. So you need to have a sign in front of there. I've got +8x and a -3x. So I have 8, I owe 3, I'm still going to have money, +5x. 8x minus 3x, 5x. Here I've got a -2x squared and a +5x squared. I have 5, I owe 2. I'm still going to have money in the end. I will have 3x squared. -2 of these plus 5 of these is 3 of these. The x squared does not change. You can't add these terms together, and so that would be your answer.